And look, you can all, hey, feel free if you got something else you want to get into. We look, it's, it's nothing. Let's get into it.
Yeah. I be trying to. We got so much though. It be like I don't want to just be like poking everywhere and off track. But yeah, I can't wait till we get into the other stuff we planning on doing, like the in person and the other little like Zoom stuff. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good for the people. But anyway,
Oh yeah.
the procrastination with you men. Why is that? Why the things that y'all supposed to work on? Like we gotta wait on our toilets to get fixed. We gotta wait. Bar stools ain't put together right. Like what is that?
First of all, that's a lot of pressure for me to answer that for all men. Okay,
Well,
that's
a lot of y'all be procrastinating, so I figure it's some little similarity there between all of y'all.
I feel like you gotta. It's some stuff. It's until it gets the most serious, you ain't gonna mess with it. I think that's
That's
what it is.
crazy. That, that's crazy because to us it be serious. Like, what you mean to get serious? My toilet need fixed. How serious is that?
But it ain't life or death. Like
That is true.
you ain't gonna die if your toilet don't get fixed. You know what I'm
So
saying?
that's
Like
how y'all think. It ain't life or that's it's a life or death thing, huh?
I'm not. I don't know
See,
what.
I'm gonna have to. We gonna have to do a Zoom with men on there, and I'm gonna have to ask y'all. I'm just tell the ladies sit in the audience, let the men talk, y'all. Let them ask. What is up with y'all in this procrastination on fixing things that we need y'all to fix? Like, what is it? Is it life or death? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's a disconnect with us. I don't know. With men
Either
and women.
either that or it's just like I don't know. Maybe it's some other stuff I got that I think is more important. Maybe.
Oh, don't say that. Oh, don't say that. That's gonna cause an argument. Like, what? So you saying what I think is important ain't important? You know how we get.
Right.
That's
And see,
funny.
look,
That's funny.
it could be so many different things, or it could just be like, I get to it, and I might forget to get to it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's plenty of stuff we didn't talked about. I'm like, I don't think it's not important, but if it just slips my mind. I'm like, oh no, I was supposed to, do the. I gotta get some pictures took. You know what I'm saying? Like Brady told me, get some pictures took. I still gotta do that. Like, it's not that I don't think it's important.
It
You know,
just ain't life or death. Yeah, I got it. I got it. I
but
got it.
hold up.
I'm gonna start asking different men that when I see men procrastinating on things they need to do because y'all be getting on us about the stuff we don't be doing or listening to. Well, women don't listen. All right, cool. But y'all be procrastinating. So we don't listen, y'all procrastinate. Perfect match.
That's fair. That's fair because it ain't like I didn't hear you.
Yeah,
I heard what you needed to get done. I heard it for sure.
that's crazy. Don't take the trash out on time. So there we go, taking the, what I'm saying? It's like, I get it now, life or death. Okay, I got you. I
I think
got you.
I think it's just you. I think women have a sense of urgency for things that men just don't have a sense of urgency for.
Absolutely true.
Not
Absolutely true.
not even
Go
saying
ahead.
that it's less valuable or anything like that. It's just like that ain't. I wouldn't categorize that as urgent, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Even though it's important, it ain't urgent.
See, this why when people be talking about relationships, I be like, I like my singleness, but there are times I want a relationship. But I have to be realistic too. Like, are you ready for the non-urgency things? You know what I mean? Like to you it's urgent, but to him it may not be urgent. Are you ready for those conversations? Are you ready to chill out, B? Is he gonna get to it? Or so it's like that realistic part of relationships that I feel like people don't really look at, when they talk about, oh, I just want my person. And it's like, yeah, you do, but remember the realistic life of relationships. You know what I mean? Not all this fantasy stuff that people, tackle. But we can go ahead. I'm off my soapbox. My bad. I just had to ask that.
No, that's a good. I know that ain't the topic, but I think that's a good topic though. You
Yeah.
know, when you have to deal with the reality of getting with a person long term and what that really looks like. And like
Yeah.
stuff that, especially if you done stuff on your own, you used to doing stuff a certain way, and another person come in and you like, that's wrong. It's like, well, it was right for me,
Yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
I think one good thing about that conversation is we both can do that. We both
Mm-hmm.
can say, "Oh, we've done it this way," you know. But I think the goal is to like, hey, just be honest about it. Okay, if your way is better and it
Yeah.
helps, then that's just what it is. It ain't that to me. It ain't that deep to hold on to it just because I'm used to doing it. If you do it
Yeah.
better, then let's roll with that. Let's do it the best way we can do it.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's like you right. That's a good conversation. Maybe we'll put that on one of our in person ones because that is a thing. It's like we saw when you used to doing something yourself, it worked for you, but what works for both of y'all together? If you I had somebody, a few people were kind of like looking at me crazy because they were like, well, when you get the man, if he don't take the trash out, will that be a problem? I said no. I've been taking the trash out for so long. You know what I'm saying? Why would I make the petty no trash? You don't take the trash out when I tell you to take it out. Why would I make that an issue? So it's like, I'm just gonna take it out. Yeah, I'll let him, hey, do it. But if it ain't done, I'm just gonna take it out. I'm not gonna make it an argument. I've been taking it out for. It doesn't make me less womanly if I take the trash out. That's how I feel.
Mm.
So those are real hard conversations that we realistically real hard conversations that we need to have when we think about relationships. And I think we run over that, the real stuff, and we just do the fantasy stuff, and that's why we got all these arguments. But anyway, I'm off. We ain't even got into the topic because I'm on my shenanigans. So I'm gonna let you go on and do your thing. My bad.
Nah, look, that's all
Look,
good.
Drake can say she curious on this one.
Look, okay, we can't get into
Look,
everything.
what William and Drake. Look, we gonna have some in person stuff. Me
Yeah.
and Jasper gonna have some in person stuff. We gonna get to some nitty gritty of some stuff.
Oh
Cause
yeah.
he already, yeah, William. He said the more single you are, the more selfish you become. That is a fact, though. I
Oh
can't even lie
wow.
on that.
Wow. I'd never heard that. That's deep.
We gonna have to tackle some of that stuff. It's real. I can admit
That's
it. It's
deep.
real.
That's a deep one. Oh yeah, we gonna get into that. Like I said, we got some other topics, but we definitely gonna get into that eventually. But yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in. This Unlearn, Relearn. I'm Jasper Love It, Brother Love on all platforms. This is Brandy Yates, accountability coach, life coach. You know what I'm saying? What does that
I'm
mean?
your favorite life coach. I'm Brandy Yates, your favorite life coach. You gonna love to love me, or you gonna love to hate me. Either way, you gonna love me. Stay tuned.
What is
That's
the
my
what is
life.
the, what does this thing mean? I see this a lot.
You know what? I ain't gonna need lie. I do it because I see people do it, but I don't know. I think it's. I don't even know. Don't even give me the line. But I see people do it when they like something,
Uh
and
huh.
I was doing it wrong. I was doing this at first, and they was like, "Girl, what is that?" I'm like, "Ain't this that thing y'all do?"
Just doing stuff. Oh shit.
You know.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong. All right, we're gonna get into our first topic. I saw this first one. So that I saw that and I was like, I think that's a good conversation to have, as far as people who have platonic friends and they cutting their friends off, when they get with people and it's like, I guess when I first saw that I was like, I had to ask the question like, how deep is your friendship where you
Yeah.
gonna cut off a person just because you with some, you know what I'm saying? Like, how real is your friendship if you got to do all that? 'Cause
Yeah.
I've personally never had to cut off of like a female friend. Now, if this is somebody who we're saying we're friends, but this is really you kind of like me, I kind of like you, that type of thing. Okay, that's yeah, that ain't real
Yeah.
friend. But
Yeah.
what do you have any initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we've touched platonic friends before, and I believe in them. The world is the world don't believe in them. A lot of the world don't believe in it, but I believe in it because I feel like that shows how healthy not only you and your partner are, but how healthy that bond, that relationship or marriage is. Because like I said before, it's not up to you to force these people to leave. It's up to your partner to do. So like if you gotta force, argue and nag for them to leave somebody alone, that speaks to a deeper issue, not only within yourself, but within your partner and within y'all relationship and marriage. But I'm with you. If there was something there, then yes, I will understand it. Like, hey, I don't want no temptation, to come mess up my marriage or my relationship. So yeah, we gotta call it quits as a friend. But if there was literally nothing there ever, like ever, and it won't be, you gotta cut off your opposite sex friends to make your relationship work. That don't sit right to me. And y'all, and I'm not, because people will say this. People will say, "Oh, well, you ain't in a relationship. You don't understand." Okay, I was married before. And after that marriage, I had people I was dealing with. I still had this mindset. The only people, I'm gonna be for real, the only people I felt some type of way about of the opposite sex was somebody that I knew he had messed with. So,
Hmm.
it's now, yes, I got that thing because I'm like, will they be in a situation before, or again, like, will they be drunk one time? Yes, those come in. But every female friend that he had, no, I didn't feel that way about them. So so there are caveats where it's like I'm not making nobody do that because I told you before, I think we teach people how to trick us. So that's one of them things. I can tell you I ain't got no female friends, but when I'm in your presence, I'm gonna be around them female friends. Like, do you really want your partner reverting, to that type of thing, or do you really want to try to control this whole human being? As if, what I'm saying, they don't have their own self control or they not smart enough to push somebody off or not do something, crazy just in case. Like, is that the type of person you with? So it's so many caveats to this. It ain't even a cut and dry answer for this one.
No, I don't think so. I think I don't. I think that, like you said, the history of the relationship definitely plays a factor in that. And hopefully you be honest enough with a person to say, this person we used to like each other, we used to deal with each other, whatever. Whoop de whoop. We didn't went there with each other, and that's you can't get mad at your partner for one you to cut them off, but if y'all haven't had any of that, I don't think you should. Why would you have to cut your friend just because they're the opposite sex? Like everybody of the opposite sex isn't a threat to your relationship at all. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it just requires people to be mature and be honest and real about their relationships with these people. If you know this is somebody who you like, like you can't get mad at people when to
Mhm.
cut them off. You know what I'm saying? Like this is somebody who you have feelings for because y'all everybody thought that we friends thing, but you really got something else going on. Like this is really your crush who you just waiting on. Okay,
Yep.
that's what that really is. That's
Yep.
why they're a threat. Because you can see how y'all interact that y'all had something else going on.
Exactly. You can see it. And so
Mhm.
I've spoke of platonic friends before. Because I don't I've had some men that will come and try to be like, oh, you got to get rid of them. No, sir. You don't come into my life that you are not a part of yet and make that type of demand. Because what that shows me is that, okay, you need to go deal with some history of yours. I'm not a part of that history. I didn't cause that hurt. So you don't come and project on me. Mind you, This is what I say with grown people. We are grown. You finna tell me you finna control me like I'm yours as a human being? I'm not allowing it. Because I've seen too many times what that does when you allow somebody to control you as if you're theirs. No, we are partnering together in life, but I don't belong to you. I have a choice to leave. I have the choice to be my own self. Now, I'll respect you. I'll build with you. We can talk about it, but you're not finna come tell me, oh, nah, they gotta go. Cause that's like I see control issues there. I've seen it happen in other women's lives. I know how that go if I go down that road. I'm not willing to do it. Now you can let me tell them they gotta go, but you're not gonna come demand that they gotta go on somewhere. So Jacqueline says she got into therapy because this became too normal in her life from friends. Um,
Which part? Which part became?
yeah, I'm not sure if I'm understanding, but if she's saying like so like her relationships, maybe the people were telling her too much that like she got to get rid of her friends. I'm not sure if that's what she's saying.
That would
Yeah,
happen.
if she's still on, I'll let her clarify it. But for me, so what I did was I had some friends who nothing ever happened. When I tell you never ever happened, but they got with women who were like that. So they were like basically cut me off. We couldn't be friends or do anything, right? And then when that woman left, they kept coming back. And I said, look here. I am a human. I believe in friendships and I believe in strong friendships. You will not remove me for such a time as somebody else's insecurities. And then when that person leaves you, now you coming back into my life. That is not gonna happen. You're gonna choose. Either you're gonna put your foot down and you're going to tell this woman, like, hey, ain't nothing going on with this girl. This girl been in here 12, 13, 14, 15 plus years. Ain't nothing ever happened. I'm not letting that friendship go because you feel insecure. Either you going to do that or we going to cut the friendship. Because this ain't no hopscotch over here. You know, I got feelings too. I lose my friend because you're in a relationship, but I'm supposed to be here when you come back. I don't know who wrote that script, but you know I follow my own scripts in life. That's why people don't like me. I ain't following your script. That's not the type of friends I want because I won't be that type of friend to you.
Mm. Hold on. I think Jacqueline responded. Yeah. Hold on. Maybe that was somebody else. It's okay for you to hold others. Let me put this up here. It's okay for you to hold others to a standard, but he can't.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah. But now I was gonna say to that. So, are you sure that your homeboy wasn't really crushing on you?
I'm very mature. I have a high discernment. I have some that did, and trust me, I won't even hang with them solo dolo. Like I don't play them games. I knew the
Mm.
ones that were just being cool because of that. You know what I'm saying? But I operated like that in my regular life. So
Mm.
it's like there would be no need for if I got in the relationship as exclusive with somebody that you wouldn't even need to feel that type of way because in my own regular life, I don't cross those lines. I make sure it's clear. If I know you crushing on me and I ain't trying to get like that with you, we ain't ever doing nothing solo. We ain't having these side, certain conversations. It's gonna be like a group thing, and I'm gonna make sure that line is there.
Mm.
So. Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. It's okay for you to hold. I think he misheard something.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he had to misunderstood something.
Okay. Okay. There go Jacqueline's response. Yeah. I got into therapy because my friends made cutting people off for new partners normal. Oh, okay. Then come like you said. Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
What I do, yeah, I don't know. I just don't play them games, Jacqueline. And I see, like, I don't know if you've seen it or Jasper, you've seen it, but I've seen people say, like, as a good friend, you should understand that her relationship or his relationship come first. So you should be a good friend and just wait for them to come back around. And I'm like, who defines friendships? You can't define friendship for me. That's not a friendship for me because again, I treat my friends how I want to be treated. I'm not cutting you off for a relationship that you ain't harm or disrespect. So I'm not finna put up with you doing it, especially if it's multiple times with multiple people. Come on now, it's a pattern here.
Right.
And at this point, I gotta protect my energy. I gotta protect my peace, baby, because I'm human too, and I need my friend. But I can't have my friend because you in a relationship where somebody is insecure about it. So now I gotta go sit on the bench and just wait till that's almost done or whenever it get done, and then come back and be friends. I don't operate like that.
That's not real friendship.
It's
That,
not.
that's not real friendship. We got to do all that. It ain't. It's not a genuine friendship. I've never had to cut nobody off, but like I said, you got to be honest about what those relationships are. I knew who was like a friend and who was somebody trying to get in, like two totally different types of things. You know what I'm saying? Like if
Mhm.
we're genuinely friends, then another a woman coming in doesn't change anything for me and my platonic friend. That changes
Mhm.
nothing. Like, but somebody who there's some other feelings involved. Oh, okay, then stuff is definitely a lot different.
Mhm. So
That's
so he answering when we was confused. Okay, so Reed, this the problem I have with a lot of y'all humans, right? Why do y'all try to go in and control somebody to get on y'all program? If you, there are women who will cut their friends off for their man, right? So just go find them. So how do you say I'm saying he's controlling because he want me to cut him off, but I cut him off because I don't want to let go of my friends. So that's not controlling. That's me getting on my program. Nobody's coming in to change my program. This is the lifestyle I live in. This is security I live in. So if somebody is insecure, you don't come control the security over here. Just go get with a woman that's insecure or go get with a man that's insecure. That be the controlling thing a lot of y'all have. So you want somebody to change their program to make you happy. That don't work like that. Come happy. Come working on healing. Come get whole, and we gonna live a life together. But you're not controlling anything over here. You don't own people.
and I
I find
think
a lot of people do that. They try to go after people who they don't match with. So you already know you don't match because this person has opposite sex friends and they believe in them. Why go be with them? Why try to be in something serious with them and try to control that atmosphere of their life? Just go find somebody who believe in the same thing you believe in.
that's
That's easy enough to me.
that's the key in the whole thing. Everyone don't know how to be platonic friends, so
Yeah.
instantly it's like you got to cut this person off, or they trying to get with you. Are there The reality of it is, are there people who try to befriend you to get with you? 100%, but
Mhm.
everybody don't fall for that. That's something important that you got to understand. Everybody
Facts.
does not fall for that. Okay, everybody don't fall for you trying to, you know, ease your way in there. And if you feel
Mhm.
like you can't trust nobody, first of all, if that's what you got to do, then you do what you got to do. But like Brandy is
Yeah.
saying, get somebody who also agrees with that, because everybody don't see
Yeah.
platonic friendship as this bit threatening thing where at any point in
Exactly.
time we can get with each other at any,
Exactly.
just for nothing. Like, nah, that ain't but I think it's important to establish that, hey, if you feel like you don't want to deal with that, there's definitely somebody out there for you who don't want to deal with that too.
That's all I'm saying. That be the crazy part about humans. I swear to God, you will know somebody is operating a certain way. And I said this plenty of times to women. You know this man has been that same way since y'all been together, but you wanted to be picked so bad that you went along with his program. Now that y'all are exclusive or you have a title, now you expect him to change. Shame on you. Because he was always who he was from the beginning. You the one changed. You accepted it, and then now you don't like it because you got a title. It don't work like that. If you got with somebody, you know they have platonic friends, and you don't like it, toodaloo, move along. Why get with them? Agree to a exclusive relationship, and then cause a problem. That don't even make sense. So you went all these years or whatever, just going along with the program, knowing you didn't like the program. And then now y'all are partners. Because let's be real, everybody don't start off as partners. Y'all start off as friends, dating, messing around, whatever, and then the title comes. So all this stuff was present beforehand, and you still chose to deal with them.
Mm.
That's when controlling comes in there. So you thought you was gonna go along with the ride and act like you was okay with it. And then once you got that title, you thought just because the title is there, they're supposed to change their whole being and the whole way they move and the way they think. That be the problem with relationships now. And that's why they toxic like they are.
You got to be able to accept the person for who they is from the jump.
Mhm.
You know, and
Yeah.
not
Or don't. Or don't. Look, or
yeah,
don't.
or not. Yeah, it's
Like,
always an
why you
option.
trying to change some? You know what I'm saying? Just because you got a title, like you went all these years with being okay with some, but now the title is there. Now,
Yeah,
oh,
title
I'm your
don't
man.
change.
Now you got to get rid of them.
That don't change
What?
anything. That don't, if they gonna do that without the title, with the title, with or without the title, they're gonna do that. That doesn't
Right.
change anything. But you also
Exactly.
have your own choice. It don't matter what everybody else is doing. You have your own choice. You
Yeah,
know.
and the thing is, people follow. So the thing is, and this why people can't stand me. I don't follow your program of what a relationship is, right? I create my own. So if what I do decide to do don't work for you, you ain't finna make that change.
Hmm.
So go find somebody who will change. Like it's as simple as that. It's like we argue over the simplest things. Your program ain't even working because you ain't even got a successful relationship. But you arguing with somebody else's program. It's a stupid argument. But that's what people do because we dealing with past hurt. We dealing with traumas. We dealing with insecurities, and we want to project how we think, how we live into somebody else. Trust me, there are people who match you. I swear to God, it is.
Yeah.
Go find them. What's the argument for? What's the?
It ain't really no argument when you focused on aligning with the people that align with you. It ain't no argument. Like there's nothing to discuss. If you want the majority of men or the majority of women to behave a certain way, I feel like you're wasting your time. Go find the people
Oh,
who got that going on.
for
You know,
sure,
as simple as that.
for
I think
sure.
you can easily align yourself with the person who will bring you that peace, and there's nothing else you have to even say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Women believe there are levels to unlock with each new title. Oh wow, that's different. And men are talking.
I think he in St. Louis too. We gonna I'm gonna have to get with him. He's married. He's married as well. Karan is married as well. I'm gonna have to get with him and see if I think he in St. Louis. If he'll have to get on some of these things we got going in person.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
He has some interesting perspectives that kind of cut a lot of people. It's a little different.
No, that I can definitely see what he's saying with that. Thinking that the title actually, but it's a lot of levels to that. Even with
Yeah,
marriage, you might think becoming a husband or becoming a wife changes some things, and this none of this stuff you discuss with the person you actually getting married to. Look, I've made that mistake in my own thinking. What I'm saying, not even realizing that hey, you got some expectations coming into this that you have not said nothing to your wife, nothing about nothing. And I'm
yeah,
like, oh, okay, I need to check, I gotta check myself for that. Like, okay, why am I putting this stuff on you and I've never even told you about it? Because I have this
yeah,
idea of marriage and what it should look like and the titles and what I'm saying. But I never had that becoming a boyfriend though. That wasn't a thing. I'm thinking that this just changes everything, but like I said,
yeah.
it happens though. It happens. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the wrong way to think. I think too many people get into that. It's like who I am from the beginning. This, and I told you before, this is why I don't rush with people. And I always see how people are, how they operate in the talking stages. This is why it doesn't go far. Because again, I don't do men who are controlling. I don't do men who feel like they're not a man if they're not leading every single thing. Kind of what we talked about in the beginning. If somebody is stronger, if your woman is stronger in a certain area than you are, you should allow her to lead in that. If it's finances, if it's budgeting, you know what I mean? Why do you as a man feel like you have to control every aspect of everything? To me, yes, that is some insecurity in there. You want to be a man, and so you need all of this control to feel like a man. You ain't got real men around you. You got to go talk to some of them. Because I'm sure there are some great husbands, or some great husbands, who don't mind a woman leading the financial part. It may be a decision they think, hey, this is a better decision. She might come with a better decision, and he be like, you know what? Let's try that. That is not making you a weak man.
Right.
That's a leader. That's what leaders do. Most leaders lead from the back. They not in the front, but that be the problem. Men feel like if I'm in the front, I'm a leader. You don't even know what real leadership is if that's how you think. Anyway, so back to Quran. He said women believe there are levels to unlock with each new title. Men are taught to be 100% man from the jump. It's I don't know who teaching who, because it's a lot of rules that were just made up because of this how somebody else did it. It's a lot of rules that was made up from the slavery aspect. It was a lot of rules that was made up because from the poor aspect. It was a lot of rules made up from insecurity aspect. A lot of rules made up from women not being able to even work or have a voice. Like it's so many rules made up, and it's like people, the person you're trying to be with, you're not talking to them though. You listening to everybody else about your person.
Exactly. That's to me. That's one of the biggest problems is that we are too addicted to what we should do and not figuring out what works for us. Some stuff is not going to look the same way that it looked for our parents, that it looked for our homies, that it looked for our brother. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not going to look the exact same way. And you got to find a way that it works for you, long as it works. I think this identity that we have, as men and women or husband and wife or whatever. I think we get too stuck on what it should look like, and if it makes more sense for your wife to do the finances, let her do that. If it makes more sense for the husband to cook, let him do that. If it works, long as it's working and long as everybody's functioning the way they should function, you know, you're doing a good job. That's healthy. You're functioning, not going against the grain for the sake of tradition. Like that doesn't mean that you're getting to the place that you need to get to as a team. Because people forget that the whole point of you being a couple, you're a team. Okay, yeah, both contributing in the way you need to contribute to
Look,
win in life. Like
um, as you talking, I'm reading the comments. Exactly what he said. A lot of people have leadership and dictatorship confused. I swear to God, it is. So again, the amount of men that think you finna come dictate this. I know how to submit to the idea of somebody that's healthy. You will lead over here. You're not going to dictate over here. Those are two different type of definitions of leadership. Hitler.
oh man,
And like we can get like people. It's crazy. It's like this is why I will only listen. People say about if you want to be in a relationship or you want to be married, just listen to people that's in relationships or marriages. There are some relationships and marriages where yes, you can see the dictatorship happening. Baby, I don't want to listen to y'all because I don't want my life to look like that.
yeah.
I'll go and listen to like people like Quran. He's married. When he knows the difference between leadership and dictatorship, these are the type of people, the wives and stuff, I will listen to because what you have, your structure, that's the structure I'm trying to operate in. We not operating in no dictatorship over here, not in no relationship.
Exactly, exactly. Hold on. What is okay? Reed said every team there's someone leading. Uh, Okay, it's a coach. Yeah, and as a coach, you have to know when to pick and choose your back. That don't mean you know everything. You got to rely on your
Exactly.
defensive coordinator. You got to rely on your offensive coordinator.
Exactly.
Sometimes you got to let your point guard go out there and call the play, run the play. Like what I'm saying. It's not a I what I say goes type of thing. That's not how
Exactly.
it works. And
Exactly.
that doesn't do anything for the actual winning of the championship. If Phil
Mm-mm.
Jackson was the end all be all to the Bulls run, then Michael Jordan wouldn't be the greatest player. It'd just be Phil Jackson, the coach. He would get all the praise.
Yeah.
Like no, it don't work like that. you know,
Or
and
a good leader, a good coach, you're gonna let your assistant coach step in and do what they need to do as a good leader.
yeah, that's
It
a leader.
doesn't take away from you being the
It
main
don't take
coach. You know
away
what
from
I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah,
Yeah, you a main coach know how to move the puzzle pieces around. And a
yeah.
lot of times from the background, you're not the main character in the whole story.
No, no, that's not how it
You,
works. If that's how
yeah,
you want it to be, okay. I'm trying to
yeah,
tell you how it works. At how it
yeah,
works at the end of the
yeah.
day, you know. And if you got somebody that is working with, hey, shout out to you, you know.
Shout out to you, huh? But if it ain't working
They
for
gotta work
you,
with
then
it.
your place, you need to go readjust your place because your own place ain't even working for you.
Exact. All this stuff is theory. If it don't work, it gotta work. You know, it gotta work. What? Okay, honestly, some folks get into relationships and have no kind of idea or understand the identity or structure of a team. That is 100%
Big
true.
facts. Big
That's a
facts.
100% true. And you know what? You got to have grace with most people who do that because everybody don't know that. I think that's
Yeah.
something you should learn before you get married, or even before you even get serious about somebody. What
Mhm.
actual partnership and the structure of a team looks like, you know, because everyone just doesn't have that. They just don't know that dynamic. You know,
Yeah.
everyone don't know how to work together for a common goal. You know, and like I said,
Yeah.
it's something that we need to do more, and I think that would, you know, cause less of the back and forth because we both understand we're both working toward the same common goal. We're not working against each other.
So people think there's an I in team, right? That's why it has to go my way, no matter what, right? So this is what I tell people: you can tell the type of person you have before you get in a relationship. I don't care what nobody say. Y'all can tell that fib to somebody else, but I ain't buying it. You can tell how people treat their friends. You can tell how they treat their family, their siblings. You can tell how they treat strangers. You can tell how a person's character is before you get in a relationship. So this whole, oh, we're in a relationship now, I didn't know this was going to happen. You might not know certain things would have happened, but you can tell the person's character beforehand. So we gotta stop that lie that we be running around with like, I just didn't know. Because as a coach, when I go down the steps of people how they got together, I point out every single point. This is when they showed you. This is when they showed you. This is when they showed you. This is when what was you thinking when they showed you that? Oh, and then when they did this, and it's like, oh, well, I didn't think. Yes. So just say I ignored it. Just
Mm.
say because I wanted this person so bad, I let it ride. Don't say I didn't know, they didn't show me. No, they did show you. You just ignored it because you wanted your person so bad. That's the main thing we talk about. We want our person so bad. So there were things that you didn't even like from the beginning. You know you wasn't gonna be cool with it, but you wanted this person so bad you ignored it. Then when you got in there, now you getting all this hell and this riffraff, and you like, what happened? Nothing happened. They just being them.
Right. Some of that stuff you might see it and don't even think it's anything to explore, you know, and it makes me question like yeah, it makes me question like are you learning a person as well as you should? You know, like you can't just disregard stuff and think nothing means nothing. You know certain actions come in a relationship. You're not even gonna have a conversation about it. I mean, to me, that's the problem. You're not even gonna address it. You're not even gonna, it's nothing. If it's not an automatic, clear cut trigger for you and something that disrupts you personally, you don't pay attention to it. But a lot of the stuff that come bite us in the end is stuff that we just don't think has an effect on us, but we're not connecting the dots to who this person is that we're with and what that action means to this person. It ain't about what it does to us. What does it do for them? What does it mean to them? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all these again. I'm gonna always go back to the beginning. People want relationships because they're trying to fill a void. They're trying to fill an idea that they have, right? So then they don't ask the right questions from the beginning. They don't go through the proper experience from the beginning. They get together off of feeling, off of she made me feel good, or she was different than others, he was different than others. They made me feel good. But when you really tackle exactly, okay, somebody making you feel good don't mean they're a lifetime partner. You know, what was it about them that made you say, hey, I'm going to take myself off the market for them? And there are very reasons people take people off the market. Again, it could be because I know this person is, they going to do whatever I say do. So I'm going to snag them up. You know, it's going to be, and that's men or women, because we got people, men that they call simps. So this ain't even a gender thing, but they gonna do whatever I want to do. So I'm gonna get them. Or you gonna find somebody that you know, hey, this person finna challenge me to be my best self. We gonna build some stuff. Like our roots is really finna be rooted. You know, a lot of people in relationships, they ain't rooted. It's surface level. Look at my son. You want to be in the audio video? You can walk about with the shirt all off.
Ain't no gals on here.
You know we're recording this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna show my chest off real quick.
So shit. No, he finna graduate high school, so he's probably trying to,
Oh man, this is good. This is good conversation. This is good conversation. And what Karan say, that's an organized sports. Relationships are too nuanced for that. In real life, a leader knows when house or to win house to dictate and let people that can do something better take the helm for sure, for sure, for sure. Man, I almost forgot our original post. I ignored it. It's a
cut
powerful.
your friends off for love.
Yeah,
But look, that's how it go when we flowing in conversation, talking about
yeah,
different stuff, and the comments, because you got to remember the comments also be throwing it off too, different directions. So that's what happened. The comments threw it in a different direction than the original post.
yeah. But yeah. Back to the original topic. Yeah, like I said, cutting your friends off, your real friends. Like I said, I think that's a important part to put in here. Your actual friends. You know, an
Right.
actual friend shouldn't have to be cut off any more than a family member needs to be cut off. You know, like if there are people who are genuine in your life and you know that there's nothing else going on outside of that, why would you need to cut them off? You know, that's the last thing I got to say about that.
Yeah, before we go to the next one, I
Mm,
also want to say we're not telling you don't cut people off for what I'm saying, but
yeah,
use your judgment. Some people do not have to be cut off. We ain't gonna even play that. But if you have a partner where they just miraculously move to that, because I'm with my lady. No, I'm not finna spend as much time with the opposite sex females that's been here before her. Then that's cool because that was their choice to do so, not you forcing them. Oh well, something might happen between y'all. That's an insecurity. Like if your partner just choose to do that because he or she don't see it fit, you know what I'm saying, to just always be with the opposite sex friend, that's cool. I'm with it. Hey, no argument here.
all right, cool, cool. All right, we're gonna jump into this next one. We still got a little bit of time that we. That was a good one though. That was good. We went down the rabbit hole on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wanted to talk about as two people who give advice and who do stuff on social media. Um, what you got? What you got?
No, I ain't got nothing. So the person that commented, it went to the last topic we had, but I feel like it going to the new question that you just put up as well,
Okay.
like the whole deal swap. But I'm gonna let you go on the first one, the advice part.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was a good talking point. Because thinking about it, I don't think there's anything wrong with listening to advice on social media. I think a lot of the stuff, when I was dating, I didn't have a lot of advice on social media, but I did read a lot of books, a lot of articles, and get different perspectives on relationships and dating and stuff like that. And I don't think it's anything wrong, long as you know good advice and know, stuff that you should be listening to, people you should be
Yeah,
following.
yeah,
I think there's nothing wrong with that. But I also do think when you really dive into your own personal experience, You can figure a lot of stuff out if you really. But I think that you have to be a transparent and open person to really do that and learn from yourself. Because you could be telling yourself, "Oh, I ain't did nothing wrong. It was all them. It was all my exes." Like it's like everybody on earth got exes that it was their fault. I'm good.
But you know the main word I hate. Oh my god, I despise it. I don't even want to talk. If you ain't no licensed therapist that have actually went through diagnosing people, the whole narcissist word. My God, everybody is not a narcissist just because they hurt your feelings. Golly, that word it annoys me so bad.
Funny. You said everybody, all of them was
On
narcissists.
social media, everybody a narcissist if they ain't do what you want them to do. Like, golly.
But that's how we look at stuff. That's how we look at stuff. Like it's always your all of your ex's fault. Like and everybody can't look at themselves and say, you know what? Okay, this is the part that I played in the craziness. This is what I did in the foolishness. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, and that's not to say that they didn't do anything, but you
Yeah,
ain't completely innocent either. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
I think it depends on the type of person to look at yourself and find accountability in yourself for where you are romantically. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
That's just my
Yeah.
initial thoughts on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people who can't, if you can't realize what it is that you did, and not, when we say what you did, it ain't even about you actually did something to somebody. Like you broke their window, you cheated, you lied to them, and nothing like that. But the did is in the choice, right? So again, we talked about the signs that we ignore. You gotta at least take accountability for, dang, I did see that and I ignored that sign. So this person, and that's what got me to where I'm at as far as being an accountable woman. No, I didn't play in nobody's face as a dude because I'm upfront. As you can see, up front, I am telling you what I'm willing to accept or not accept or go with. I do that up front with anybody, so I don't waste my time or whatever. So I'm not. It's not that I did anything to somebody, but there are a lot of things I ignored because guess what? I wanted this dude. I liked him. He was fine. He was funny. He bought me stuff, whatever it was that made me ignore how he was. I had to take accountability for that. And when you take accountability for the things that you did, your choices, then you don't sit here and make bashing content either.
Mm.
So on social media, you see a lot of these people in these gender wars. Yeah, because a lot of them that's in this gender wars, a lot of these men that always know more about how women aren't women, and all these women that know more about how men aren't men. If you look at a lot of things they say, comment on, or even post, you can see they ain't done nothing wrong.
Oh,
It's
of course,
always somebody else's fault.
of course.
Like God, leave.
It's never their fault. It's never their fault. And I feel like the two go hand in hand. Knowing what advice to listen to, and knowing who to get the information from, and being able to look at yourself. I think both of those things help you in the long run. And I think
Yeah.
it's really about perspective. You get as much perspective as you can on different things, and not just tell yourself that the other person is wrong.
Mhm.
I had a reason to stop talking to everybody I talked to, but that didn't mean that they did something wrong to me. You know,
Yeah.
at a certain point, you get to a place where you just like, oh, we just don't connect. We just don't align with what we want. And it's really as simple as that. You can want whatever, however you want to do it. You can have it. Like I said, just like the last subject we was talking about with platonic friends. If you don't like platonic friends, I can't tell you that's wrong.
Exactly.
What you want, go ahead and have that. I
Go
just
find
know
it. Exactly.
it, I just know I need to align with somebody else. Like it's as simple as that. No, I'm not trying to force you to change your perspective because of how I see it. Okay?
Hmm.
If I'm okay with stuff like that and you're not, that's fine. I'm good with it though.
And,
I don't
and
really
that's what be a lot of going on. Like it's like, okay, so you can have your opinion. Remember, everybody is giving an opinion based off their own personal experience anyway, right? We're all experts of our own lives, I like to say. So no, I cannot tell you what you said happened to you didn't happen. But just because that happened to you does not mean that happens to everybody. So I don't make your experience the law.
There it is.
That's not law. That's your experience. So what I find on social media is that people get mad at other people for their experience and their opinion because they are literally trying to force them to have the same experience that I had. I can't force you to have my experience. Now, you can't invalidate it, they say, but I'm on the other spectrum. It ain't always black and white for me. If I know bullshit is bullshit, I'm going to invalidate it. You know what I mean? So it's like, but again, I don't follow other people's rules. I follow my rule. I call bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not finna if you say this how it's supposed to go, I guess that's how it's supposed to go. Okay, well, that's how it's supposed to go for your life. That ain't happening over here in this world.
Exactly, and everybody has that. Everybody has that option. Everybody has that option, and I feel like if you understand like stuff like that, if you understand that, you know, you have that option, you can navigate stuff so easily. You don't have to try to argue nobody down to agree with you or nothing like that. Live your life how you gonna live it. And I think
Mhm.
when you know to take the right advice, when you know to the perspectives that people come from, and it's guiding you in a healthy way when you do get with a person, I feel like you definitely should take that advice. You definitely should, listen to that advice and keep it in mind when you're navigating through stuff. It's when y'all on social media listening to everything,
Yeah.
and you taking everything as good advice, and
So,
everybody,
so,
right?
so look. So Onyx, that ain't his real name either. When they change their social media names, I'll be forgetting their real name. But he actually made a comment on one of my posts the other day, and I don't know it verbatim. Matter of fact, I got my other phone. Let me go. Let me see if I can go read it. But he basically said that people hear or they debate with their feelings. And that's what be happening a lot on social media. People really be debating with their feelings. And this is why you can't have a conversation. And this is why you make somebody else wrong for wanting what they want for their life, because you debate with your feelings. And it'd be funny because the most people that debate with their feelings be like, oh, I'm using logic. You aren't, though. Because you will be okay with somebody wanting what they want for their life, and it doesn't personally affect you. If you want poly, I'm monogamous. If you want poly, I ain't never got mad at nobody for wanting poly. I don't care. I don't subscribe to that. So guess what? You ain't finna force me to subscribe to it, though. Now, that's when we finna have a problem if you think you finna force me to get on your program with it. That everybody say that program, that new word. That'll be out in a minute. But your program... No, just go find the women who like poly. It's like the unnecessary arguments and advice that we give on social media. It really be from feelings.
Mm-hmm. Like you say, a lot of stuff you you want to make it make sense to everybody, and you feel like everybody just should roll like that, and it's like, no, everybody's not gonna roll like that.
Mhm.
Everybody's not gonna believe in the same things, and why does it matter? Like, to me, you looking at the wrong stuff when you focusing on that.
Mhm.
Like I said, the last subject, you got to do what works for you. If you getting with a person, y'all gotta figure out what works for y'all.
Yeah.
It's gonna be something that works for y'all. It ain't gonna be what works for everybody. It might look crazy to some people on the outside, and that's okay. If it working for y'all, hey, do what's working. You know.
Exactly. And I think I said before, I used to be so big on, because I'm divorced. People used to try to bash me because, oh, you talking about relationships, but you divorced and you single. I'm like, well, hell, the people in relationships and marriages ain't talking. Not the healthy ones, it's the toxic ones talking. But I'm to a point now, I understand why. Because I'm not finna bring to the internet what me and my wife do or my husband do for y'all to bash me. Like, this is working for us over here. Why would I bring that to, like, so now I understand why a lot of people who are actually operating healthily in a relationship or marriage don't come to social media. I get it now. I get why they don't. Protect it. Because social media, they gonna bring all their feelings and thoughts into it. And kind of like we said on the on the last topic too. If it's working for you, then cool. What's to be upset about? But the problem is your own logic, that's in quotations, ain't even working for your own lifestyle. And that's why you mad. That's why you projecting it onto other people because it ain't even working for you.
Right.
And I get it because you think you're the main character. Yeah, yeah. So what Onyx said, I got it. He said some people don't hear what you say, they hear how they feel. That's
Mm,
why peace gotta be protected, not proven. That's what he said.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Man, I
Yeah,
might.
that was dope. And he don't comment
Yeah.
a lot. He don't even say nothing a lot. So when he said that, I was like, oh, bars.
That's yeah.
That was
That's I
bars. That
like
was
that. That's deep.
simple and quick.
Yeah, for sure. You was right about the. You know, I don't try to tell people what me and my wife do. Like at all, because like I said, I'm aware that you'd have to be the same type of woman and the same
Yeah.
type of man for that to make sense. So it ain't gonna make sense to you, and that's okay.
Mhm.
I'm good. Okay, so it don't have to. But what I can do is try to find nuances and stuff that connect that anybody can connect to.
Yeah.
And anybody
It's
can use. Yeah.
it's like finding your tribe. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to focus on the people who ain't doing what I'm doing because then that's gonna take my focus off of what I need to create. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? I'm over here on social media arguing about how somebody works their relationships or their marriages. Now, if you bring it to us, that's different. But even then, you can choose to entertain the stuff that's on social media or not.
yeah.
I unfollow a lot of people. I block people because it gets disrespect. People try to come and try to force me to see it that way, and then they start getting crazy with the comments. So then I start blocking them because I'm not on social media to argue with y'all about y'all lifestyle. I'm on here to find the tribe of people who know how to converse, even if we have this difference of opinion. Because I believe, even if I don't live the lifestyle that you live, I can learn something, right? Because there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Those are not the same thing. You can have knowledge and then not have a wisdom. Just because you have the information don't mean you know how to use it.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, so I make sure I put my like Quran. So since he on here saying I'm gonna bust him out. It be some things he be saying when I tell you I be like, uh. But as I sit and listen, again, because that'd be our problem, we don't listen. We always want to argue everything we don't agree with. When I sit and listen and I go through the comments on some of those posts that I may not agree with, and I'm seeing his logic when he's explaining stuff to people, I'm like, well, damn, that actually makes sense.
Hmm.
Now I see where he's coming from, his perspective. You know what I mean? But we don't give people that opportunity or grace. Immediately when we don't agree with something, oh, it's an argument. Oh, we going back and forth. Now it's a disagreement that leads to an argument.
Yeah, you gotta try to at least understand first. To me, let me understand it first. Before I even if I understand it and still want to argue, okay. But let me at least try to make sure I understand what you're saying first. You know what I'm saying, before we even get into that. But
Mhm.
what Karan say? Everyone wants to prove that their programs work for others' approve, and that's so true. That is
Man,
so true. Yeah, for other people's validation when you don't need nobody else's validation. Like if it's
yeah.
working,
It's
that's the only validation. Like it don't make sense.
yeah. I don't know who brought the program word up or whatever, but it's trending. But it's this whole thing I even see with women. We got this thing where it's strict over here, and the whole time it don't be strict. Like they be bribing y'all with flowers and expensive purses and expensive dates and trips. Y'all be getting bribed with that. That program ain't strict over there. But it's just this is what social media tell us to say.
That's
So it's you gotta have wisdom, you gotta have discernment, you gotta be in tune with that intuition to know who to follow, who to engage with, and who not. Like you said, if I kind of want to have a little razzle dazzle argument, disagreement with you, I might participate. I might participate, but again, it don't have to be so. Disagreements don't have to be disrespect. That's what I say.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. You gotta be careful with putting out stuff like it's strict over here. That some might see that as a challenge. I know a younger, more toxic brother love might have seen that as a challenge. Like, oh, okay, let's see how
And when I
strict
tell you,
let's see how
I've
strict
had
you really
men
are.
break it. I've had men break it down to me like years later. And they would come back and tell me, they were like, you seem so tough on social media. I literally was coming to try to break you.
Wow.
And they was like, in the moment of trying to break you, I saw that your integrity was your integrity. Like, you really stood on what you stood on. Because they say what a lot of women do is we talk that tough talk on social media, but we like weak in the knees behind the scenes.
Oh
So they
yeah.
thought I was one of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, I've been weak in the knees before behind somebody, yeah. But that experience is why I talk a lot of how I talk about not moving too fast. Stop letting your feelings make you feel like this person is doing it because they want you for life. No, this person may be doing it because they only want sex with you. Like,
Yeah.
this is why I talk my talk. But yeah, I've had people actually come say that. They're like, man, I got so much respect for you now. And in my head, I'm like, but I ain't got respect for you because why would you do that? Why would you come trying to personally break me? Like,
Oh,
what?
totally. Right.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's how some people might see something like they might see something like that. While let me see how big and bad you are. Let me see if it's real. Let me just throw some. You just got to be careful with how far you putting your chest out there to try to prove you this person. Somebody is definitely gonna come tested. And that's not to say that you shouldn't believe that, but I mean, to me, good character ain't braggadocious. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to brag on good character. If you really are, if you really have a strict program, I mean, I don't know people who brag on stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to brag on having a strict program. If you strict, if you know you serious about stuff and you don't get down like that, just do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but how strict
It's
is it
like,
if you got to tell everybody like, oh, hey, don't come over here, I'm strong.
mhm. Oh my god, it's it's people that did they. It's like an affirmation. I really don't believe that's what I am, but I'm gonna tell myself that that's what I am until I believe it.
That's good. That's good.
Some affirmations are good, but some affirmations is you just making yourself more delusional.
You just trying to hype yourself up to have a strict program. You know your program weak, but you just trying to hype yourself up to have a stricter program. I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, the what? And I know we got to get ready and go, but I always say the worst lie you can tell is the one that you tell to yourself.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. A lot of lies to yourself. That's gonna hurt you more than anything anybody else could do.
Yeah, because you're gonna get got. You ain't giving yourself the tools you need to actually work on those weak areas that you have. Because you keep lying to yourself, saying you ain't weak in that area.
Right.
You keep lying to yourself, saying you don't need the help. Like, it's your life. It ain't mine.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. You definitely got to be careful with that. Look, hey, I'm go ahead and wrap this up. Look, my kids and came home. They finna
Oh
go.
look, hey dad.
You heard the scene? That's the
Yeah,
phone.
yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
I see.
Look, your kids done woke up talking. My son done walked in the back.
Your son said, "They gotta see this chest."
He ready to
You
eat though
gotta
too.
see.
That's what it is. He ready to eat. I ain't cooked yet.
Oh,
I'm finna cook. He see the meat over there season.
oh, that's funny. Hey, this was good, man. I thank you for everybody who commented. Disagree. This is what it's for. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's flush it out. Let's flush these things out. I don't mind nothing like that. Let's let me hear your perspective and opinion. Let's get it all out there. But appreciate everybody for watching us, tuning in, and man, having a good conversation. And like, man, this felt like the barbecue a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like at the backyard.
That's what we trying to do. That's what we trying to bring. It
That's
ain't
what it
gotta be no.
felt like.
Yeah, yeah. That's what we trying to bring because it's like again, disagreement is cool. The disrespect ain't. So like for me, we creating an atmosphere where we can come do that. But if you know emotionally you can't handle that type of thing, you won't be welcome. Like just point blank thing because that's not the atmosphere we trying to bring
No
over
disrespect.
here. And then, yeah, gotta be ready for honesty too. But all right, you gotta get to your kids, get to your babies, even though they ain't babies, and I gotta get to cooking.
All right. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and end this.
Okay.